Well, the lore behind the Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit that continues to be ongoing just gained a new character. Everybody got their lore Bible ready because it is time to update it. Microsoft, of all companies, has joined this battle. Yeah, I don't think up until now they have really been involved at all in this. And the most natural thing is to wonder, why exactly are they getting involved in the first place? This has nothing to do with them. Well, it actually does. You see, it all revolves around an Xbox mobile store that was announced about a year ago from now. It was supposed to apparently launch in July of last year, and then we never heard anything about it. Now, I don't necessarily know what was the reason for maybe the initial delay, but now they are actually pointing the finger at Apple, saying that they are the reason that they are not yet wanting to launch this app on the App Store, and because of this, they've basically issued this statement to the court, and they are supporting Epic Games. So The Verge just released an article on this. I don't know how they have their sources. I haven't found like an official court filing on this. But yeah, they do have their sources, and they do quote the new statement from Microsoft a few times here. So they say that this is an amicus that was filed by Microsoft yesterday, Tuesday. An amicus is essentially like a voluntary statement that is made to the court, usually by like a third party. So they quote Microsoft's amicus here. This is part of it. It is kind of confusing how it's worded. I'm going to explain what I believe this means afterwards, so don't worry if you are confused. But they say, here's how Microsoft explains it. Quote, the district court's injunction allows Apple to maintain its in-app exclusivity, but at least should have enabled Microsoft to offer consumers a workable solution by launching its own online store accessible via link out for in-app items to be purchased off app and used in games or other apps. And that is what Microsoft wants to do, but even this solution has been stymied by Apple. Prior to the district court's most recent order, Microsoft had been unable to implement linked out payments or even inform customers that alternative purchase methods exist because of Apple's new anti-steering policies that restrict Microsoft's communication to users and impose an even higher economic cost to Microsoft than before the injunction. So that's, like I said, kind of a lot of words, kind of a lot of confusing terms there. Here's what I believe they mean by this. Essentially, I think Microsoft is saying that they are in a very similar situation as Epic Games in terms of wanting to launch their own store for mobile devices, and this would very much include iOS devices. But the problem is the Apple App Store kind of has a monopoly on a lot of things, so that makes it very difficult. Now, the way I understand it, the district court did file a recent injunction that basically said that Apple does need to comply with a lot of these court orders that basically reduce the monopoly, so to speak, that they have with their App Store, but they are trying to appeal this. So I think this is Microsoft basically saying, hey, here's why I don't think that this appeal should be allowed. And yes, essentially with this whole Xbox mobile store, they are saying, hey, we're not really wanting to launch it right now because we're afraid that things could go back to normal. And if that's the case, then it's going to be extremely difficult to have this online mobile store. So we don't think this whole thing, per Apple's request, should be overturned. Essentially, Microsoft is in favor of this injunction, which Apple is not in favor of. Now, the article does go on to say that the court ruling also impacts Microsoft's main Xbox mobile app. So it says, similarly, Microsoft has long sought to enable Xbox app users on iOS to both buy and stream games in the app from the cloud or their other devices. Apple's policies have restricted Microsoft's ability to offer these functionalities together, whereas the injunction allows Microsoft to explore this possibility. Yeah, and to me, like, if this happens, then I don't really think there would be a need for an Xbox mobile store, because you could just put it all on the Xbox app like they are wanting. You can buy games and stream them all on the app, and you don't have that extra, iOS app store cost. So yeah, overall, it does sound like Microsoft has joined this huge war against Apple. I don't think that the court is going to end up ruling in favor of Apple at the end of the day. I think Apple is just going to have to take this L. And who knows, I'm not 100% sure about that, but now with the help of Microsoft, I think things are kind of swaying now even more in favor of Epic.